This is the Playgasm podcast for August 26, 2007. I'm Keith Harbort, and joining me are Josh Bicknell.
Hello.
And Kyle Dumont.
Hi.
We're back. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Yay!
Hi.
You already did that.
That was Kyle Dumont you just heard, acting silly.
Yes, acting quite silly.
Kyle wasn't with us last week.
No, I was not with you last week. I was with you 2 weeks ago, a fortnight.
How was your week off, Kyle?
Uneventful.
That's not what we want to hear. We want you to tell us all the wonderful, exciting things you've been doing for the last 2 weeks.
I finished moving into my new apartment. Not much else. I lead a surprisingly boring life. I purchased Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 recently. Thinking about playing through those.
You got in trouble with your roommates by playing BioShock on his Xbox 360.
Yes, I was unaware of the unwritten rule of the apartment. You can't play a game that someone else owns unless they beat it.
Oh, that is a major faux pas.
I wasn't aware.
And now you are.
They didn't tell me this.
I think your roommates are just nitpicky. So that's kind of pathetic.
So other than BioShock, have you been playing any good games?
Just what I've been playing since you last saw me. I'm about to beat Trauma Center. Just messed around with Planet Puzzle Quest. Or Planet Puzzle League, rather. And I'm on the verge of beating Puzzle Quest.
Alright, I'm kind of disappointed. I was looking forward to living vicariously through you and what you've been doing. But Josh, what have you been up to?
I would like to open up, Keith, by saying congratulations to you.
Why, thank you, Josh.
And
Did he get his Xbox back?
well, yeah, but I'll get back to that after. By congratulations, I mean, this is the 1 year anniversary, pretty much, of Keith and I podcasting together.
Well, congratulations to you too, Josh.
Yeah, we started with the Media Fling podcast and eventually morphed into the Playgasm podcast, so, yeah.
That's pretty good, considering we quit podcasting about 6 different times.
Yeah. But a happy anniversary, my friend.
Likewise.
Myself, I have been playing some Shadowrun because Nick bitched at me until I got it. And I caved like a little schoolgirl.
And giggled too.
And giggled.
Last I heard, you swore that you weren't going to play that game.
Yeah. Oh, here it comes.
Oh, the hypocrisy.
Let me have it, Keith.
No. I'll sprinkle it throughout the podcast.
Oh, thank you. I think I can take that then.
Hypocrite.
Son of a bitch. I have been playing some Madden NFL 08 still.
And kicking my ass.
And kicking your ass. We had our Playgasm season opener on Friday morning, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I beat your ass.
Crushed me.
I crushed you. And then we played again today, and EA tried to fuck me.
You deserved it.
How?
It was all skill on my part, though.
Here's the story. Keith did a pass, and then his guy fell over on his fat ass. The ball landed on the ground next to his head, but yet the computer said he caught it.
No.
Got a touchdown.
The ball never touched the ground. Josh challenged the play, which you can now do in 2008.
Online. You can do it online last year.
Right. And the play stood as a touchdown.
Yeah,
The ref clearly saw the ball did not touch the ground.
Okay, here's what really happened without Keith's bullshit spinned into it. The ball landed next to his receiver's head on the ground. It touched the ground. And then it magically went flying right into his hands. And they gave him the touchdown.
And yet the referee did not see fit to call it an incompletion. So therefore, it was a touchdown.
This isn't a real game. It's a simulation. It's a computer simulation. Blame the programmers.
And when the referee sees that the ball did not touch the ground, it's a touchdown. End of story.
Yeah, you did something with the referee. You do something good with your mouth, but moving on, I suppose, I've been playing BioShock as well. My father picked it up for me for my birthday.
Oh, that's sweet.
I didn't really want it, but I'll play it. I suppose. So far, I would say that the game does not meet my expectations.
It was a shitty gift, and your dad never should have bought it.
No, it's a cool gift. It's a cool game, but playing through it, and I haven't really gotten too far, to be fair to the game. I haven't really gotten too far. But it's kind of boring.
How so?
I find it kind of boring more so than action-based or survival horror-based. Yeah, you get the guys running out at you and attacking you and all that, but in between those periods, it just kind of seems lackluster.
What, you don't think it's really cool? Hacking the bots, putting those little pipes together and letting the fluid ooze through them? Oh my god, it's so exciting.
I loved Pipe Dream.
Yeah, Pipe Dream was fun.
And now I get to experience all over again.
Yep.
God, I hate that game.
Well, I would say that BioShock was not a 10 out of 10 like every other review area. I would say it's more like a 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. But, again, to be fair, that is only because I have not gotten very far into it. I suppose that's it for me. What have you been up to, Keith?
Well, let's see. Hooked up my refurbished Xbox 360, and it's working very well. Nothing's caught fire. No more red rings.
Yet.
I downloaded and played a couple demos on the 360. Beautiful Katamari, which is pretty much more of the same as the game was on PS2. It's still kind of a fun game, but it's really not evolved at all. Going back to our topic of last week, it's not something I'll be buying.
No.
As for the BioShock demo, I wasn't really too enthusiastic when I played it. I won't say that I was bored with it, but it just doesn't look as wonderful or as phenomenal as everybody's saying it looks. And yeah, it's playable, but I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. It's hard to put into words. It's like there's a sweet spot with gaming that's like it's just hard enough that you want to keep trying to play it and beat a boss or beat a level or beat some area. This game just doesn't seem to have that for me. It's like they just throw random shit at you and you beat it and you get through it and then you're done.
Yeah, but that was just a demo, and for my complaints on it, it is really early for me to really bitch about it. So I suppose we'll wait and see for myself what happens when I get further into it. You're not going to give it a chance.
No, I'm really not. I mean, it's just I'm not into shooters anyway, so this wasn't a game that was going to fit my personality as far as gaming goes anyway. Like Josh said, played some NFL 2008. Started a franchise using the Bengals. They kind of sucked. Found that out a little bit late, so I changed and started using the Chargers. They've got a much better defense.
You only changed because of me.
Well, yeah, that's part of the reason. I need to learn the plays and the people who I'm going to be using. And against you, since you used the Patriots, them being your kind of hometown team or home area team, I needed to use a team that was similarly matched offensively and defensively. And the Chargers are probably about the only team that's close in skill level.
Yep.
I don't watch football.
Well, you're not a real gamer.
Ow.
I'm just kidding. That was going back to something Nick said about real gamers playing Madden. Or not playing Madden. Which was it?
He said true gamers, or he doesn't know if he is a true gamer because he won't play Madden or something like that. I don't know. It was stupid.
Well, he'll be on next week and he can defend his honor then. Other than that, I didn't do a whole lot this week. Spent some time editing the podcast, last week's podcast. Once again, I apologize for the sound quality. I'm to blame for that. We were experimenting with a few different ways of recording, and we did our tracks individually, and that's why the sound quality is a little bit different between each of our voices. And we were using Audacity, and we had some issues with background noise. Hopefully we'll have that sorted out for next week. And that's about it.
I think I sounded sexy, damn it.
Josh, you always sound sexy.
Thank you.
In that high-pitched, whiny, gay sort of way.
I'm not doing the rest of the podcast.
Yes, you are. This week's Top 5, which we do every week, is going to be our top 5 controllers, and this includes arcade sticks, peripherals, etc. Going first will be Kyle. So, Kyle, what's your number 5 controller?
My number 5 is the Nintendo Power Pad.
Is that the, that's not the one that you used with track and field where you jumped on, was it?
The very same.
Yeah, okay, I thought that's what it was.
I always wanted one of those.
You never had one?
No, dude, I didn't.
I thought every kid had a Power Pad. Did you have the blaster at least?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did not have the power pad, actually, and I did not have the blaster.
How the hell could you not have the blaster?
Well, I had the little head thing that you put on your head that had the scope, and you lined up your shot with your eye, and then you said fire, and then it would shoot.
Ooh, that's kind of cool. That's almost next gen.
I don't remember the name of the thing. I do remember reading up on it a couple months ago. It was on a list of Nintendo's worst accessories or something like that. But for me, it worked really well. I actually really enjoyed it.
It kind of seems like cheating, though, because you have the targeter on your eye, as opposed to aiming with the blaster.
Yeah, but he had to hold his head still, and with his ADD, that's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, I like the Power Pad just because, when you were, between 5 and 10, that was just something fun to do. Everyone, during a family party, would come over, and everyone would be running on the Power Pad for 2 hours, and then everyone would pass out.
And you got exercise out of it.
Yeah, it was a great thing for parents, because your kids would be worn out. You don't have to drug them to get them to sleep. Alright, my number 4 is the Nintendo 64 controller. I liked the feel of it. It was very comfortable. It was probably the first controller that I had where there were no sharp corners or the controller wasn't awkwardly placed like the Sega controller.
I hated that controller.
Why?
You hate smoothness.
I don't know why I didn't like it. I think it was the placement of the analog stick and the D-pad and all that. I hated it. I skipped the N64 just because of the controller.
Jesus.
You feel
Wow.
the hate.
You really hate Nintendo.
I don't hate Nintendo.
You don't.
Wait, don't you have 2 N64s duct taped together now?
Yeah, and that got me a GameCube.
Yeah. Alright. Josh's Nintendo bashing aside, if you just cut off the left part of the controller, which was the D-pad, which was useless, I have never used that controller in any game that I owned. Did any game use the D-pad?
I didn't have an N64 either.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I had one in the house. My brother had one. I played it like twice. So I don't really remember. I think, what was it? Mario Kart might have used it. I don't remember.
I know Smash Brothers used it, but I just used the analog stick.
Fuck the N64.
And the controller it rolled in with.
Yeah. My number 3 was the original Xbox controller. That was the massive Xbox controller, not the newer ones that they released.
Controller, yeah.
Again, it was nice and big. It was very comfortable in my hands. All the buttons were within easy reach.
Dude, you like really big things in your hands, don't you?
I have to, be used to something that I'm holding, so yeah.
Oh, we're getting phallic.
Yep. I have a huge penis.
Had to go there.
Anyway. Again, comfortable, had a good weight to it. Plus it did a lot of damage when you threw it.
Nice.
Which was important to certain games.
You are probably the only person I have ever known in my entire life
To like that controller?
Yeah, to like the original Xbox controller. The original one. I'm not talking about the S controller.
I hated the S controller. It was too small. It just was not comfortable. Especially where the black and white buttons were.
Man, you're a freak.
I felt that the way I play, I had to take my hand off of the trigger just to get my thumbs onto the black and white buttons. Yeah, it made certain games very uncomfortable, especially, you guys probably never played it, Breakdown, which used the black button for the jump button. And it was a huge pain in the ass on the S controller.
Freak.
My number 2 choice is the 360 controller. Again, very good weight, just a good solid feel. It is the S controller, but they improved upon the design.
Nice and round.
Yeah, nice and round, very comfortable. My only big issue is the, what are they called? The left and right buttons.
The triggers?
Yeah, the shoulder triggers.
Or the bumpers.
The bumpers, I guess.
Yeah.
It just seems that the Xbox is becoming more like the PS2 controller. Or PlayStation controllers in general.
Alright, now I have a question for you, because you mentioned the weight of it.
Yeah.
Are you using a wireless one with the battery pack on it, or one of the wired
The
ones?
wireless ones with the battery pack
Because
on it.
Personally, I think the wireless ones are a little too heavy.
They're heavy.
I prefer, weight-wise, I prefer the wired ones, but I do use a wireless one.
I like weight. It just feels like I'm holding something. The PS3 controller, I picked it up and down. It's too light. It feels too fragile.
For marathon gaming, though, you really want a lighter controller, unless you want your forearms to just kind of start to sag near the end of your game.
You're not holding your arms up. They're normally in your lap while you're playing a game, right?
Yeah, but your wrists are still supporting the weight of the controller.
And your legs are supporting your wrists, so it doesn't really... It works out.
And I probably have the strongest wrists on this podcast.
He's ambidextrous.
And masturbation joke.
It was implied. You didn't have to say it.
I'm just, saying it for our duller listeners out there. My number one, which I'm probably going to get a lot of grief for, is the Steel Battalion controller.
What the fuck, Kyle?
The Steel Battalion is a game where you look at it and you know exactly what you're getting into. Something very complicated, something very in-depth. I liked that. The controller's set up not even 3 feet in front of me.
Okay.
It's just something... It makes you actually feel like you're in the game.
I have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
Did you pay for this at full retail price?
No, I did not. I got it used for $100. I think the person might have played it only once or twice.
Even $100, I would say you got fucked in the ass.
I don't care. I love that game.
Could you describe this controller? Because I think a lot of people who may not have seen it would have no idea just what the hell we're talking about. I mean, this thing's huge.
Steel Battalion uses about a 3-foot controller with a panel of approximately 40 buttons. There are 2 joysticks, a gear shift. Among these 40 buttons are an eject button, a start button, and then several toggles for you to begin the ignition sequence. Steel Battalion is a mech game. So,
and doesn't it have foot pedals too?
It does have foot pedals. My only qualm about the foot pedals is they have metal plates where you put your feet on. That's good, because metal's nice and sturdy. However, the connector to the base of the foot pedals are made of plastic. So your nice metal foot pads will wiggle around because of the weaker plastic.
You're telling me this thing has 40-some buttons, knobs, gear shift...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there is a knob.
Is it any wonder that the terrorists hate us?
I think they actually use that to train, to be honest. I'm pretty sure that if you cite that you play Steel Battalion very well, if you're going to, the Air Force, I think you get promoted instantly to captain.
Nice.
I can't believe that you have this on your list. I can't believe that you own this. I have never known anybody to own this. Until you said, what was it, last week?
Last week.
That you had it. Yeah, and this is where we came up with the idea for the top 5 controller, because I wanted to mock you.
Yep. It's just a fun controller. It's a very, very, I guess, accurate to the game. It's not like you're playing Mech Assault and you're just mashing the triggers in A. You actually have to literally select the proper controls and move it around. It's just amazing.
I hate you, Kyle.
I love you, Josh.
We'll have to see if we can post a picture of that in the show notes.
What, of the Steel Battalion controller?
Yeah. That thing
Yeah. Are you looking at it right now?
I've seen it recently, but yeah. It's big.
The bigger qualm that I have is the communication knob. it's trial and error to properly get your supplies into you. Because you get your supplies are pretty much sent to you by chopper. And you have to put the dial in this place, hit the communication button, move it to another place, hit it again, move it back, hit a different communication button, and so on. I think it's a 5 or 6 step sequence to get supplies routed to you.
I can't believe that, man.
I can't even relate.
Yeah, the only thing I can compare that to, in my experience, will be using an arcade machine. Because that thing is about the size of an arcade machine setup. It's
exactly like an arcade machine.
That's just sickening that you spent, what was it, $100 on that?
Yeah.
At retail, it was $200 plus. It was more than $200 to buy that brand new at retail.
At that price, and with that amount of controls, don't you feel like you should be controlling a Humvee out in the desert in some DARPA challenge or something?
Have any of you read Ender's Game?
No.
No. Well, basically, I can't say it without ruining the end of the book.
Fan fiction?
No, it's not Steel Battalion fan fiction. Read it. It's a very good book. It's like 300 pages. Once you read it, I'll explain to you what I was going to say.
Oh, man. We have to wait?
Yeah, for those of you who have read, they can probably guess what I'm going to say. So, it's just between us. Me and you.
Alright, Kyle, you disgust me. Moving on with the lists.
Normally we would drop Nick's list, but the lazy bastard didn't give us a list, so he'll have to defend next week why he's such a lazy, conniving bastard.
Pussy!
So we'll go on with my list. At number 5, or should I start with honorable mention? Or do you guys get pissed at me when I do more than 5?
I generally don't care, as long as you don't do it too much. I guess last week was 7. That was a bit much, but this is just 1, so go ahead.
Well, this week, number 5 is Nintendo's Wiimote Nunchuck. Even though I kind of bitch about the Wii a lot, I do kind of like the Nintendo Wiimote and the Nunchuck. It's the first controller I've ever had that you're actually using both your hands separated. In this case, you're separated by a cable, but you're generally moving your hands, which is a more active way to control whatever it is you're playing. I just wish there were more games that actually were fun to play on the Wii.
Yeah, I don't really care about the Wiimote or the Nunchuck.
Why not?
I think it's retarded. Alright, here's one thing that kind of goes with your list that I think is really fucking retarded. The classic controller for the Wii, right, for virtual console games, you have to plug into the Wiimote to use. That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
I'm not a big fan of the classic controller. It's awkward to hold.
I don't care about that. I'm just saying, to have to plug it and leave the battery draining on your Wiimote, which those things suck battery life to begin with, that is fucking ridiculous.
I use rechargeable batteries, but it still doesn't justify how often I have to charge those stupid things. Alright, moving on. Number 4, the Sony PS3 6-axis. Soon to be even better with rumble. The reason I like the 6-axis is because it is so light, even though that was one of the reasons Kyle cited for not caring for it so much.
That's correct.
I like the lightweight. I do like the lightweight. The only thing that I think is still holding the 6-axis back is the lack of rumble. It feels a lot like the PS2 controller. It's wireless. It's light. I mean, it's round. It fits my hand pretty well. I'm used to it.
I like what they did with the bottom R and L buttons. How it kind of curves into it. It does make it easier to hold.
You know what, though? Are you talking about the triggers? Yeah, you're talking about the triggers.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't like about those is that, unlike the 360 controller, which I currently have in my hand right now, that they do not have, a part where it comes up a little bit at the end. So your fingers end up slipping right off of it if you're holding it down, say in a game of Resistance, and you're holding it down and you're shooting. Your fingers can slip off of it. Whereas the 360 controller, it kind of catches it at your finger at the very end.
I prefer the 6-axis about the trigger area, mainly because of the way the triggers are located so close to each other. It's a lot easier for me to have my index finger on the top shoulder button, R1, L1, and have my middle finger on the trigger.
Yeah.
You can't really do that as easily on the 360's controller. And we might as well talk about the 360 controller too, because that's number 3 for me.
I wasn't done.
Go ahead.
Alright, I do like the fact that it's light. For me, it being so light, you kind of forget that you are holding a controller. And that's something that, playing MotorStorm I really liked because, and yes, Keith, I did use motion controls in it. I did forget that I was making those actions the times that I were using the motion control. Because the controller is so light that you just don't really realize it after a certain amount of time.
I've heard that oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say end of transmission.
I have heard, though, that some people really like the 6-axis motion controls for use in games such as Warhawk, which another game I won't be getting. But to me, I think that the addition of the 6-axis controls are just kind of tacked on. They feel tacked on. The games that I like playing just generally aren't going to use the 6-axis motion controls to a great extent. And personally, I really don't think it was a useful addition to the controller. So number 3 was the Microsoft Xbox 360 controller. We've pretty much already talked about it a lot. One of the things I like about it is that it's round, it's smooth. There are no pointy parts on it. The triggers do kind of stick out a little bit too far. One thing that does do is gives you a little bit additional movement, travel distance, which gives you added sensitivity, or at least the possibility of having added sensitivity.
And you love it because it has rumble.
I do love it because it has rumble. I mean, that is a very important feature for a lot of racing games. Anyone who's a big racing game fan has to have that feedback when your tires are going over a curb, or you're in the gravel, or if you're starting to slide. You really do get a sense that you're losing control of your vehicle, and that rumble gives you immediate biofeedback.
Yeah, but you know what?
You can't just get from your eyes.
I don't care if Mario Kart has rumble. Okay?
It's not really a...
That's a racing game.
It's not really a game
It's racing.
Does
It's racing.
I won't argue with you. It's racing.
Alright, I win.
It's not one I give a shit about. And also, you won't see that on the 360. Or PS3.
What, a good racing game?
No, Mario Kart.
Oh. A good racing game?
Not a good racing game. Number 2 is the Sony PS2 DualShock. My preference was the Logitech wireless version. The Logitech wireless PS2 controller obviously was wireless. It used the, I think, 802.11 spectrum, which kind of can be a problem because sometimes I did notice that my Wi-Fi in my house would interfere with my connection with my controller and my PS2. But other than that, it's also pretty lightweight. It's got a good button configuration. The only thing that kind of bugged me about the PS2 controller was the location of the sticks. I don't know why. I kind of would like the sticks set a little bit higher.
Yeah, but it's not any different with the PS3 controller, is it? I didn't notice a difference.
I didn't either.
It's not. There really isn't a lot of difference. Maybe it's just the weight of it. It feels a little different than it's actually a little bit bigger than the PS3.
I'm using the that particular controller right now for the PS2 that I'm borrowing at the moment. It's a nice controller. I like it better than the normal PS2 controller.
Yeah, I do too.
Because it's wireless.
And very sensitive too.
Yeah, I like that.
Number 1 on my list is something that neither of these two probably ever used, and that is the Logitech Momo Force feedback steering wheel.
What'd you call me?
Momo?
Talking about your Momo. Momo makes real steering wheels for real race cars, and the Logitech Momo Force was the red one that had leather cover on the steering wheel. It had aluminum pedals. It was sweet.
You have to give Keith shit for this. If you gave me shit,
you can go ahead. Give me all the shit you want, but this game, or this controller was perfect for Pro Race Driver, which I was a huge, huge fan of on the PS2.
And how much did you pay for it?
I think it was $100, maybe.
Is the leather really necessary?
Is it necessary? No, but when you clamp this thing, this had pretty good solid plastic clamps that you clamp to the table that you set it on, and you feel like you're in the cockpit because Pro Race Driver gave you a cockpit view, and that's the only view I ever used in that game. But you felt like you were actually in a car because you had the resistance as you were turning. It would give you additional resistance. The faster you're going, the harder it was to turn your car. If you hit a wall, that thing would fucking fly around in your hand. It had that much power and force.
That's nice.
Yeah, I can't really mock you too much about it because I had the Logitech controller for Gran Turismo 4 that they came out with.
Oh, what the fuck? You're gonna mock me for Steel Battalion, but you're not gonna dig into him for buying a more expensive controller?
Yeah, but see, the steering wheel isn't a 14-foot monstrosity.
It's not 14 feet. It's maybe 3 tops.
And mine fit in a box that was like 2 foot by 3 foot.
Mine came in a munitions case.
Square. Well, that's kind of cool. Yours is probably going to be a collector's item.
Oh, goddamn hell! It's even a first edition because they came out. They released an additional controller where the only 2 differences are instead of green buttons, there's blue buttons, and the military icons are taken off, so it can be a more neutral controller in case you're playing the evil Asians that you're fighting. It was for
green piece.
Yeah, it was for the second release of the game because they made Steel Battalion 2.
You're fired, Kyle.
My only regret about buying the Logitech Momo force feedback wheel was that it really didn't work with a lot of games. You could get it to work with Gran Turismo 4, but a lot of times if you didn't have it set just so, and I can't remember how it was, you had to either have it lined up perfectly straight when you started the game, or it would have a constant turn either to the left or to the right, or it just wouldn't control your car at all, and you would just drive into a wall, and you never knew when it was going to fuck up in that game. So, I mean, it really was just kind of useful for the Pro Race Driver on the PS2 because it didn't have full support in the software.
That seems to be a pretty big downside.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I got its usefulness out of it. I mean, I used it all the time, probably every day for at least 6 months in a row that I would be driving all the time before work. Josh, why don't you go ahead and hit your list?
I'll hit my list. My number 5 would be the Super Nintendo controller.
Boo.
What are you booing for?
Dude, that was a shitty controller.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. That thing hurt my thumb.
It did hurt after a while.
It is not the controller's fault that you are such a pussy.
It chewed my thumb up.
Do you have no ability to create calluses?
Well, when you're playing games such as... I can't remember now. It was some basketball game that you're constantly
NBA
in motion. I don't think it was. I don't remember. But anyway, I was constantly using my... Yeah, actually, it might have been. But I was using my left thumb constantly to control my guy, and it would just start chewing a hole in my thumb. So I had to get the Super controller from Bandai that snapped over the top of it, and that had a nice round top to it. So you didn't have to just press in the direction you were moving in.
Are you talking about the Super Nintendo controller or the NES controller? Because I noticed your honorable mention that you didn't mention.
Yeah, regular Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
You fail. You fail at life. Anyways.
SNES was a great controller. Go ahead.
Yeah, the SNES was a great controller. It had a really great D-pad to it, which made, guess what? Street Fighter a really great game on it, because you can pull off any move with a D-pad, and that's before they had rounded edges, too. So, yeah. Handle it. I spent so much time with this controller playing Mario Kart. Every morning, me, my brother, and my cousin would play it for like 6 hours. So I just love this controller. And my number 4 would be a general arcade machine joystick setup. Meaning NBA Jam, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I loved arcade machines. I loved the arcade machine control setup.
Did you like the Nintendo arcade stick, just for the NES?
No. You talking about that big square monstrosity with the premature dildo sticking out of it?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like that. Is that all you have to say?
I wouldn't classify it as a premature dildo, though. It just looked like an arcade stick. Had a knob and it had buttons.
Josh has a predilection towards joysticks.
Yeah. But anyways.
I think he just likes
Arcade
anything
machines.
phallic.
Yes.
This is going to be your last podcast, Kyle.
Oh.
Until 2 weeks from now.
Yeah. Anyways, shut up. Arcade machines were great. Playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade machine, or Double Dragon. I just loved the general arcade machine setup. They were fun. I actually want to build one, but I just don't have time. Damn it. My number 3 will be the Atari 26 joystick.
You're kidding, right?
Or 2600, I should say. No, why?
What does that controller look like?
A premature dildo.
How many of those did you break?
10.
Yeah. How can you say you liked something that was so fucking easy to break? It was a piece of shit.
Because I wasn't paying for it.
Did you ever play Decathlon with those fucking evil goddamn joysticks?
No.
Oh, God. In Decathlon, if you're running a sprint, you waggled the joystick back and forth
Waggled?
in your one hand while you held the base of it in your other hand. Yeah,
Man, this is starting to turn me on.
Yeah, I know. But bear with me. And you ran, and if you had to hit a hurdle, you hit the obvious one button that's on the fucking joystick. And anyway, invariably, you'd wear the shit out of this controller until it would just frickin' snap off. Or you just break the little button pads that are inside it.
You were a beast.
Yeah. So you basically, the only thing you could really do is unscrew the bottom, take the goddamn thing apart, and just hit the little buttons with your fingers.
Yep.
It was a piece of shit.
I'm glad I didn't get to use your grandpa controllers.
How old are you, Kyle?
I'm 22.
Yeah, you're the same thing with Nick. You didn't start gaming until fucking N64.
No, I started gaming with the NES. I mean, I had one since 1989. Still works, too.
Anyways, the Atari 2600 was a great machine, and the controller was great. Because I didn't have to pay for all the broken ones. Moving on, number 2 will be the NES controller. Keith, take note.
I already prematurely ejaculated on that controller.
He Playgasmed on the controller.
Yeah, my bad.
Ew.
Bukaki. The NES controller, for obvious reasons, is classic. This is the one that I spent more time playing with than anything in my whole life. I don't think I've used another controller more than I've had the NES controller. Yeah, I've never used any other controller, as far as I know of. Maybe the DualShock. Than I did the NES controller. It was just, so classic. I loved it. Two buttons, start, select, D-pad, that's it. Nothing. Simple. Basic.
My only big qualm with it is it was so angular. It would hurt after a while. But other than
Why
that...
are you guys such a pussy?
It's rough.
I don't get it.
We don't have Yeti skin like you do.
Yeah, Jesus
I
Christ.
didn't have it back then either.
You did.
You're a freaking Yeti. A baby Yeti is a Yeti regardless.
That was little Yeti.
You still have leathery skin. Normal humans do not have that.
He's right.
I think you guys should modify your list right now while you have the chance and put the NES controller on it.
The NES controller was on my original list, but then I took it off for the power pad.
I hate you.
I did give honorable mention to the Bandai Super Controller, which was a snap-on onto the NES controller.
I didn't even know Bandai made electronic peripherals.
Electronic?
Yeah. I knew they made, were part for game. I just haven't seen a Bandai controller.
Oh, it wasn't really, it wasn't electronic at all. It was just a piece of plastic that was like a shell that went over the top of.
Yeah, I can
NES
see
controller.
Bandai making something more than that.
Hey,
Something.
you two had your time, and I want to move on with my list.
Josh, what is your number one controller?
Well, Keith, my number one controller would be the Sony PlayStation DualShock
And why is
for the
that?
PlayStation 2 because it was great. It was amazing.
And it had Rumble.
I don't give a shit about that. Honestly, who gives a shit about Rumble?
I do.
Yeah, neither of you count.
2 out of 3.
If Nick was here, he would agree with me.
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah, probably not. The DualShock, basically an upgraded PlayStation 1 controller with analog sticks. Even though the PlayStation 1 controller got it eventually, I believe. I don't remember. I spent probably more time with this controller than I did any other controller besides the NES controller because I was such a Sony fanboy around the time of the PlayStation 2. So I really loved this controller.
And this explains why your wrists are so strong.
That and I jerk off a lot. But, yep. The only complaint that I have with this controller, which goes on to the new one too for the PlayStation 3, is that the analog sticks, they kind of have a rounded top to them. I don't know if you guys really hate that, but I like how the 360 controller, they kind of dig in a little bit, and you can kind of fit your thumb into it rather than
like that.
just on the top of it. That is my biggest complaint with that controller.
I didn't like it at first, but it grew on me.
Man, can't believe that you guys hate the fucking NES controller.
I don't hate it. It just honestly gets uncomfortable after a while.
You are a bunch of pussies.
We don't have Yeti skin.
Transition music. Din, din, din,
No.
din, din, din. Why?
Because I was going to ask you something.
Oh, go ahead.
Really? Can I ask you something? Alright, hypothetically, or actually, relatively, would you rather have an all-around jack-of-all-trades controller, or would you rather have a controller that's made specifically for one game? I mean, Josh, you really didn't have anything on your list that was specifically made for one game in particular, but the monstrosity that Kyle described is seemingly only good for one game.
2 games.
2 games. So would you rather have a peripheral that's made specifically for one game, or are you guys comfortable with one controller that's pretty much been mapped for each game?
I would say that I am comfortable with one controller. I like one controller. I don't like having to buy extra shit. That's why I stopped playing racing games, essentially, is because I didn't like having to buy wheels and all that crap.
But you play Guitar Hero, don't you?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No, my brother has it. I don't. I will be playing Rock Band on the PlayStation 3, probably.
With what instrument?
The guitar, because I already played drums in real life. I don't want to play it on a game.
But you're going to have to buy the $200 peripherals.
I doubt they'll be that much, but...
No, they're not going to be that much. I believe they already said they're not going to be. And plus, the PlayStation 3 version of the controllers are going to be cheaper than the Xbox 360 ones.
Oh.
So, fuck you, Kyle, for trying to throw me under a bus.
It's a short bus.
Do you have an opinion on that, Kyle?
On what? Being thrown underneath a bus? Or
no, the
controllers? Well, I prefer... I like specified controllers. It makes the game you're playing seem more realistic, more in-depth. It just makes it more fun to play. But when it comes down to it, I don't feel like spending more than $100 on a controller every time a new specialized controller comes out. So I'll probably have to go with just the regular controller, just because it's cheaper.
So you won't be getting Wii Fit with the Wii Fitness Balance Board or whatever it's called?
I see no purpose for that.
No, nor do I.
The BMI is a piece of shit. It's unreliable.
I had another question, and that was, how important is biofeedback in a controller? I mean, is biofeedback being properly utilized in any of the 3 current gen consoles, the 360, the PS3, or the Wii?
Wait, what kind of feedback? Are you talking like
biofeedback
pressure on the buttons?
Well, biofeedback can be anything that's being cast into your brain.
Adds to your tactile senses.
Well, through any senses, really. I mean, it could be visual. I mean, we had the, was it the Dreamcast controller that had little data pop-ups that would come up on the little screen?
Dude, I'm surprised you knew about that.
Me?
I read.
Wow.
Wait, which one are you surprised with?
That I knew anything about the Dreamcast.
With Keith. Yeah, wow.
But I guess what I'm asking is, you know, are the controllers, if being able to tilt your controller and it controls something on the screen based on that tilt ability, a la the Wiimote and the 6-axis, are they going far enough? I mean, couldn't they include something, electrical shocks maybe, or, you know, having data, you know, streamed to a little LED on the screen, you know, LED.
Or those custom controllers that with Rumble they're actually attached to a dildo, and you have a dude playing a game while the dildo's into his girl, so all the Rumble goes into yeah.
Yeah, okay, you kind of get my point. I mean, is biofeedback that important, or is it something that needs to be done away with?
Well, personally, I think the sense of Rumble is bringing a lot of female gamers into the market.
That's so wrong.
So Sony, if you want female gamers, get Rumble into that controller. Then Keith will love you.
Oh, God. Perry Bible Fellowship did a controller comic that was pretty funny. I'm trying to find it so I could send it to you. It's pretty much this kid getting cut up for playing a video game. I hate you guys.
Why all the hate?
Welcome to the Playgasm Hatecast, episode 8.
This is about the 8th episode of hate we've had. We're counting accurately, for once.
I was only part of 2 of those hate sessions.
It's our loss, I assure you.
But all the hate started when you came on board.
I have to ask, Kyle, does that Steel Battalion controller have like a subwoofer in it so that when like something explodes near you?
It doesn't. That was another thing I didn't like. There's no rumble at all.
Oh.
Dude, you can kill somebody if that thing's rumbling around. You'd have to bolt it to the floor. If you have a baby in a carriage or something right next to it, that thing's gonna rumble and land right on top of the baby.
I don't think you should be playing that game with the baby around.
I don't think you should be playing that game with anything around.
The baby
that
should
thing,
be playing.
Oh, that thing's gonna kill somebody. Kyle, you need to get rid of it.
No, I don't want to.
Alright, I guess that's enough about controllers, I guess. You guys seem pretty tapped.
I'm game tap.
Ha ha.
It's Video Game Music Challenge time once again. Video Game Music Challenge is where we play a brief snippet of music from a video game you may or may not know. Last week's Video Game Music Challenge was what, Josh?
Blaster Master.
I fucking knew it.
Did anyone guess Blaster Master?
Yep. 2 of my coworkers who shall remain nameless. Because I hate them.
If they win, they get their name read. That's like a rule.
No.
They didn't want their names read?
These 2? No.
They didn't send it on the
That too.
They didn't send it to him on the
That's
forum.
right, Kyle. They didn't put it on the forum. They did not. If to win, you have to register on our forums and message Josh with your answer. Not tell me about it at work.
Wait, did they listen to the podcast and then tell you what they thought it was?
Yep.
Well, that's just weak.
Yep. You gotta go onto the forums, register if you aren't already registered, which you're not because nobody registers, and message Josh with your answer.
What Josh is trying to say is that the proper way to enter the Video Game Music Challenge, if you know, or even if you don't know and you want to guess, the Video Game Music Challenge snippet is to go to our forum at www.playgasm.com/forum, register, create a little...
And message Nick.
No. Create a little avatar for yourself, or choose one that's already there. And you should private message Josh with the name of the video game from which you think the music comes from. This week's music is about to play, so listen carefully. And this is the snippet. Once again, if you know, or if you don't know the video game music challenge snippet we just played for you, go ahead and register on our forum at www.playgasm.com/forum and private message Josh Bicknell. This week's topic is a bit of a continuation from last week's topic, where we discussed whether video games need to either evolve, revolutionize, or die. This week we're going to talk about game franchises from past consoles that you would like to see brought to a next-gen or current-gen console, and why. So, Josh, are there any games out there that from previous generation game consoles that you absolutely don't want to see made? Or we're not going to talk about those because we hate them so much?
You had to pick the one where I was working on the list on, because I only have 2 right now, but thank you.
That's right, my list is very long for the hate ones.
Alright. My list I don't want to have come back will be Mega Man.
Why?
Because I think they've beaten Mega Man to the ground. They need to give it at least 5 years. Katamari. Even though it's already, yeah, it is out on the Xbox 360, I believe. At least the demo is. I think it's more of the same. They should have just left it where it was.
What if they...
on the PlayStation 2.
Couldn't they, change the perspective or make it more realistic, like they're apparently doing with Grand Theft Auto IV?
But they're not making anything different with it.
No, not with Beautiful...
Changing the perspective is...
Not with Beautiful Katamari. I mean, yeah, I think they kind of did more of the same with Beautiful Katamari, which is going to come out for the 360. But don't you think that there's something they could have done? Maybe made it top-down, maybe made it as graphically stunning as what you would expect from a next-gen console instead of, doing what they did, which make it look just a little bit better than it looked on the PS2.
But even then, to me, that wouldn't be Katamari at that point. I think, for me to justify having a Katamari game on a next-gen console would be to do what everybody wanted them to do with the PlayStation 2 and the PSP version and have online play. That would be a big addition to it, not just changing the camera angles or anything like that you were talking about.
A big thing with Katamari is it's a certain visual style. You can't really change it.
Exactly.
But what I was thinking of is more along the lines of having, and you guys are going to probably crush this, but if you have different levels, and they're, I guess maybe not really levels, but if you have one area that's maybe done in one style, like maybe cell shading, you have another area that's done in almost photorealistic, perfect quality, and you have another area that's more Katamari style, and you just have all these different areas that just have different styles to them. It would maybe add some interest back to the game.
Would these different styles have certain effects on the actual gameplay?
They could. I mean, they could do anything they wanted with them, obviously. I mean, maybe the physics are different in one area.
That might actually be plausible, especially if there were, power-ups that you can get that allow you to change the world in a certain way. Like, you make it, you're in Katamari style, and you can make it photorealistic, and that will add something, and you can pick up something easier. Or more quickly.
Again, I would say no, because just changing the graphical style. Katamari is Katamari. It's what we all know. They've had 3 versions of the game already. Why change it? Why change the graphical style
now?
What
we're really talking about is, game franchise
Could it evolve?
Or even revolutionize.
We weren't doing that.
I know, but it's sort of a continuation when you're talking about bringing something from last gen to next gen. Everyone pretty much expects that franchise to evolve in some way, even if it's a minor, small way like you're going to see with Grand Theft Auto. Or even Gran Turismo, because I guess Gran Turismo 5 is going to have damage.
Huh, big shocker.
It is a big shocker, because for a long time, none of the auto manufacturers that are included in the game would allow it.
And the biggest shocker would be Gran Turismo is going to have online play.
That is kind of a big deal, but not exactly evolutionary or even revolutionary.
I hate racing games, so I could care less.
Well, that's all I really have right now on my hate list. I'm going to try to think of some more while we go along. Or not my hate list.
I have something to add to that list.
Not my hate list, but I mean the list of games that I currently don't want to be brought to next gen because they've either beaten it into the ground or...
You just had enough of them.
I just had enough of them, yeah.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Shut up, Kyle.
I don't want to see another Star Fox adventure.
Why not?
Really?
It evolved the gameplay, however, it didn't stay true to what Star Fox was. I mean, sure, you went through, and you could go into space fights, but Star Fox Adventure was all about flying around in something and blowing the shit out of something. And then, next thing you know, you're Fox McCloud on the ground with a staff, and he was turned into a Zelda game. It just didn't click. It was just a bad idea, in my opinion. I hope they never...
I never played this...
Don't.
I never played a Star
Josh.
Fox game. Shut the fuck up. I never played a Star Fox game.
Never played a Star Fox game before?
No.
Neither did I.
You had a Super Nintendo and you never played Star Fox.
I was too busy with Mario Kart.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
A racing game, I might add.
A racing game.
I thought it wasn't a racing game.
No, I just said it wasn't one that interested me.
But
what's bad about bringing Star Fox to a next-gen console? Is there no change that they could make?
There's nothing bad about bringing Star Fox to a next-gen game. There is something bad about bringing a Star Fox adventure game. I would like something like the SNES or the N64 Star Fox game, which is they could do a lot with just the next-gen consoles. Or console, because it's probably going to just be released on the Wii. I mean, they could revamp the graphics, they can insert motion sensing control with the nunchuck and the Wiimote. I probably envision it just being a side-held Wiimote controller thingy.
You don't want to see a Star Fox platformer? Kind of like a Crash Bandicoot?
No.
Or even a Ratchet and Clank?
No. It didn't appeal to me. I mean, I played through a decent chunk of Star Fox Adventure, and then I just stopped.
Is it because you hate games like that?
No.
Just because you didn't like what they did with that
I just
franchise?
didn't like it what they did with that particular franchise.
That's fair enough.
I probably don't want to see another Pikmin game again. Unless they add another time limit. Like in the first Pikmin, you had 30 days or else you die. In the second one, you just flew down with the main character's son and you just collected stuff. There was no sense of urgency. It took away an important element from the second game. Or the first game, that was...
With all these Nintendo games that you don't want brought back, I don't think you're going to be getting any from your girlfriend in a while.
Yeah.
Not only that, he's not going to have a whole lot to play on the Wii.
He doesn't even have a Wii.
Aha!
Remember, my girlfriend has one. Not me.
I'm not touching that.
Oh,
me neither.
Josh touched it a lot the last time I was here. I believe he said I had a vagina.
We'll probably cut that out, don't worry. One thing I do have on my list of next-gen, or not to bring to next-gen console, is Need for Speed. We briefly touched upon this on our last episode. Need for Speed is one of those games that's pretty much run its course. There isn't any little bit of tweaking or evolving that's left under the hood, so to speak. So I think that's one that they just need to let go, because, you've pretty much made the physics as good as they need to be for a game like that. If you make the physics more realistic, it just makes the game less drivable, makes it less fun for the non-hardcore motorheads out there.
If anything, I think that if they were to make another Need for Speed and come out on a next-gen console, they should make a kind of classic style Need for Speed Hot Pursuit and put it on like Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, or Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network for download.
Well, what do you mean by classic? You mean just bring it back?
Yeah, go back to make one that's kind of newer, but go back to the old style where, you had Hot Pursuit, try to get away from cops.
Well, you kind of do that in Most Wanted. You're able to build up your car, make your car faster, tweak it, make it look sharper.
Yeah, I don't care about this stuff where, the kids with their Hondas today putting the bigger pipes on. I don't want to edit a car like that and deal with all that. I just want to race and get away from the cops. I want to put El Nino in and get that really fast car.
You can do that with Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, or Most Wanted, it's just, you don't have to enter a race to be running away from the cops. You can do it without starting a race. You just do it in the world.
I'm just saying that's the only type of Need for Speed that I would want to see on the next-gen console. Even though there's already 2 Need for Speeds on the Xbox 360, so that really shouldn't be on the list.
No, it shouldn't. Okay. Now, the next one I have is Twisted Metal. I kind of at first thought I would not want to see a Twisted Metal, but the more I started thinking about this and what is capable on some of the next-gen consoles, the real next-gen consoles being the 360 and the PS3, not so much the Wii, is that you can have totally destructible environments. And I can see a Twisted Metal being fun again if you had environments that could just completely be destroyed by the weapons in the game.
Twisted Metal is actually on the list of games that I would want to be brought back to next gen, and I do believe they are making one for PlayStation Network to be downloaded. I'm not sure. I don't think there's been any real confirmation on that. Maybe.
I wasn't a big fan of Twisted Metal. It was fun for the first game, and then it was the same game for the next, 3 installments? Where did they stop?
I think it got worse, actually. Well, Black's the last one I played, and it was halfway decent, but it wasn't really as fun to play it single player as it was to play it with a group of friends.
Well, Black's also the one that introduced online play to it.
I never really played it online that I can recall.
Well, the default disc didn't have online. I remember that I got Twisted Metal Black online. It was
a
separate disc.
Yep.
I got it from being a Gap member for the PlayStation Underground.
Well, weren't you special?
Damn fucking right I am.
And the last one I have on my list for games not to be brought to next gen, and again, I would limit next gen to being the 360 and the PS3, is SSX. SSX is a snowboarding game that is kind of arcadey, but it's more about doing tricks and getting speed boost and looking nice out on the slopes. It's not really a game that needs to be brought to next gen consoles, primarily because I want to see more realism in gaming on the next-gen consoles, not more arcadey bullshit that is kind of dumbed down for the masses.
I'd have to argue with this. I didn't like SSX 3 so much, but I loved SSX Tricky. I think I'd like to see another one on one of the newer systems, at least like the Tricky style.
But what about it did you like so much that you want to see it updated? What more is there to do? You want to see realistic snow? Just graphically, it's not going to look all that interesting. White is white. Snow is not that interesting to look at.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's more of a wish, not really any reason of why I would want to see it. I just really enjoyed SSX Tricky, and I'd like to see them bring it back on
you just
next
want
gen.
to see what they might do with it.
Not even that. I just want to play it.
If they keep just pumping them out, it'll be like Tony Hawk.
Ooh.
I can't really argue with that. Tony Hawk, I have Project 8 for the 360. It's a fun game, but it'll be the last skating game I ever get because what more is there to do? It's a skating game.
You go and you skate around, you do tricks, you get money, you buy boards, you unlock new people, and then that's it.
Yeah,
you're not even going to get Skate by EA?
No.
Really?
No interest.
I saw the demo. I wasn't impressed. I think all skating games in general should just stop.
Maybe they should go on hiatus.
Yeah.
And come back in about 5 years. So maybe this should have been a list of games we'd rather not see on this gen, and they can skip and wait till the next gen. Next gen.
Yeah, I think that would be fair because Mega Man I would love to see come back, but for right now I think it's been beaten into the ground, and I think I have to agree with that.
What's the PS3's expected console life? How long are they going to have it before they create the next one?
10 years.
10 years? That seems like a pretty long wait.
That's what they're saying, but
it's not going to happen.
Probably, yeah. I'd give it at least like 7 years.
I give it 5.
Dude, the PS2 has had longer than 5.
I give it 5 years before there are rumors of the PS4. I give it 6 years until you can actually see it, and probably 6.5 until you can buy it.
PS4? Are you crazy? It's going to take like 5 years for them to lower the price to where it's reasonable to buy the PS3. Moving on.
It's just my bet.
That was our list. I know, but I don't want to get into that. That was our list of games that we'd rather not see come back on this current next gen. Fuck it, I hate that term. This gen
Current
consoles, the 360, PS3 and Wii.
Well, that's current gen for us, but for Kyle, what's current gen for you?
Yeah, well, it's currently built, so I would call it current gen. The list of game franchises from past consoles that you would like to see brought back, how many do you have on that list? I've got none, because, quite frankly, I've never been the kind of person who plays a lot of games from one particular franchise. I kind of jump around a lot.
I have 8.
I've got 8, too.
Well, damn. Kyle, why don't you go first, start with one of yours, and we'll pick it apart.
I have Commander Keen as something that should be brought back.
How old are you again?
I'm 22.
Never mind, you don't have to answer that. But Commander Keen's pretty old.
Yeah, I had an old computer. That Commander Keen was one of the first games I've ever played on a computer. I mean, you just jumped around on stuff and you turned slugs into slime with your plasma gun, and you wore a bicycle helmet.
Were there puzzles in that game?
Or a football helmet. What was that?
Were there little puzzles in that game too?
Yeah.
I kind of vaguely remember it.
Yeah, it's just a fun game that's just see brought back on updated graphics, probably just for Xbox Arcade or the PS3 Marketplace.
How updated do you want to see it? Do you just want to see graphics updated? You don't want to see the gameplay actually evolve or change, or
the gameplay could use some modern tweaks. Just throw in a few new things, doll it up. Just bring it back. Not many people know about it. It was a fun game to play.
Yeah, I have fond memories of that game. Josh, you want to throw one out there?
Off of my list?
Yeah.
I would say Bubble Bobble. Bubble Bobble is really fun.
And it's hard to say.
No, it isn't. Bubble Bobble,
Yes.
Bubble Bobble, Bubble Bobble.
We just like saying bubble and bobble.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It was just, like Kyle, it was really fun. It was really basic. They had one for the DS, I believe, but it
I
didn't
have
go over
it.
so well
It's
because
not
it had
that
a bug
fun.
in it. Yeah. I would like a fun Bubble Bobble, I should say.
I played it
Yeah.
and then I returned it.
Well, you suck. But I would like a fun Bubble Bobble. They should do that for me.
Like a live arcade type brought back, or full on release?
I would like one on the Wii because that's my favorite next-gen system.
It seems kind of hard for me to picture on the Wii, just with the motion controls. I don't see how they can incorporate that. I mean, I didn't get why they put SSX on there. It was kind of just a stupid move.
Yeah, but I was being full of shit. Yeah, I could probably see it on Xbox Live Arcade or PlayStation Network.
Kyle, you want to throw another one out there? Because don't really have anything to add to the Bubble Bobble thing.
Earthbound. I've heard rumors of this being put on something, but no news whatsoever. I would like to see another Earthbound game. Updated graphics.
Well, first of all, could you describe Earthbound a little bit? Because some of us never played it, don't know what it is.
It's a save the world RPG.
Okay.
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Hey, don't be knocking heroes now.
Oh, I will.
What's wrong with heroes, Josh?
This is a video game podcast, not a TV podcast. Thank you very much.
It'll soon be a video game, I'm sure.
It actually will be.
The next one on my list, yeah, I'm cutting you off,
Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
would be Altered Beast.
I love that game.
Me too. It was great.
It was
It's
fun.
pretty close to home, does it?
I played it a lot in the arcade when I was a kid, and then I played it on the Sega Genesis, which I preferred the arcade version. It was just a really fun game.
Was there any difference between the Genesis and the arcade version? Because I've only ever played it on the Genesis.
Controls, obviously, were different. Sound, I think, was cleaner on the arcade version. Graphics were a bit cleaner, but beyond that, no.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see that brought back. I'm just thinking of like all the different monsters you could actually be now that graphically it can be done.
Yeah, and I would like to see another big eyeball watermelon, too.
What were you in that level? The bear? Or the dragon?
You were the dragon in that one. The bear was the third level, the one that froze.
Yeah, he froze things. Oh, God. Such fond memories of that game. I was so excited when I finally beat that 3 years ago.
It took you that long to beat it?
Well, I forgot about... I played it when I was 8, got frustrated with it, because when the last level got really hard, forgot about it, picked it up again 3 years ago, and then beat it easily.
Fair enough.
But it was still fun.
What's the next one you got, Kyle?
This, a lot of people might not remember it. Keith will probably know about it. The insert name quest games, things like Space Quest, King's Quest. Ring any bells, Keith?
Yeah, I played a little bit of King's Quest. Not a whole lot, though.
Just that style of adventure games I'd like to see brought back. It's got the little point system, telling you pretty much your achievements in the game.
Keith would love that,
Yeah.
being an achievement whore and all.
Yeah.
They're just...
I'm starting to see a pattern
What?
with some of these games you guys are talking about. Are these games those type of games that would lend themselves to being more like live arcade games? I mean, things that aren't going to take up a lot of space on a disc, so they're pretty easily downloadable.
Altered Beast could be done as a full game. I think what they can do now graphically would really, really be
Oh, yeah.
pretty fucking sweet with that game.
Yeah, I can see that.
Bubble Bobble, yeah, that would totally be a downloadable. Earthbound on Kyle's list would not be a downloadable.
No, they could do way more with it now.
So what do you think's holding these companies back from bringing these games forward into the present?
They're dicks.
Well, besides that.
Lack of interest.
You don't think there's the interest? I mean, most gamers, I think, are our age.
Yeah, but, I mean, the Earthbound one's obvious, but who the hell would want to play who would want to play an Altered Beast game?
Me?
It'll be harder to market.
Well, 2 out of 3 of us are already interested, and I'm sure I could be convinced to be interested if it's nearly as entertaining and fun as you guys say it.
Well, this is not a very good place to get
Didn't they
statistics
come out with
from.
an Altered Beast for the PS2? I believe they did.
Did it?
But either way, it wasn't what I wanted. I think they did. I don't really care. I'm going to go on to my next one. And my next one would be The Last Ninja, which was originally a Commodore 64 game.
No idea what the hell that is.
Yeah. What, a Commodore 64 or the game?
The game.
Oh.
Was that a game where you played as a ninja and you threw throwing stars and had to avoid other ninjas?
Yeah, you had different types of ninjas. The really difficult ones were yellow, who had a towel, black towel around his head.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, and you got to jump up through the ceilings to go to
Oh,
the
yeah,
different...
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that game was awesome. I played it so much as a kid.
Do you want to see that brought back in its old glory, or do you want to see it brought back into some sort of new 3D type version?
You know, I should say I would actually prefer if they brought it back in the side-scroller style it was, with kind of a 3D background to it.
So what they did with New Super Mario Brothers.
Right, exactly. I think that would work out pretty well. Your sprites would be pretty much the same, somewhat 3D. You would have a 3D background, but it would stay as a side-scroller, kind of like what the original one was.
This would be another smallish live arcade or PSN type game.
Don't judge me.
I'm not judging you. I'm just trying to find a pattern into the games that you guys are describing. That's all.
I've got something that'll break the pattern for me, at least. A new Road Rash game.
Yeah, that could be good. What were the things about Road Rash that you really liked?
Hitting people in the face with a pipe as you were driving by. I'm just imagining just the teeth coming out of people's mouths when you did that.
See, the controllers definitely need biofeedback for that.
Oh, yeah.
And an attachment that you put in your mouth so if you get hit in the face in the game, it knocks your teeth out for real.
Absolutely. Definitely. I mean, what would be the point if there wasn't some sort of pain that you would have to face if you failed?
There's a needle that you place in your arm, so when you take damage, it'd make you bleed for a bit.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright. You guys fail. My next one will be Double Dragon. The company who originally made Double Dragon went under, I believe, so I don't know who has the license anymore. This would definitely end up being a downloadable, because I don't really foresee a big DVD-filled Double Dragon game or a Blu-ray disc-filled Double Dragon game.
Can I ask a question?
No.
What? I'm going to anyway. What would be the point of a Double Dragon game?
To make me happy?
Yeah, but what would you do in this game?
I would kick the shit out of guys.
How would you do that?
By kicking them in the head and throwing
Walking
them off
from
cliffs.
one side of the screen to the other, right?
Why do you have to hate on my side-scroller love?
I don't know. I thought games had advanced.
I'm stuck in the past, okay?
You have to
I
forget
just
the
buy the
past,
six-
Josh.
I just buy this $600 console to make my penis size feel better, but I am stuck in the past.
Is that why you rub your PSP on your nipples?
No, I do that because my air conditioner makes me cold, and like the obvious thing would be put both my PSPs on my nipples.
Sensible.
Alright, Kyle, what's your next one?
My next one is to finish off the Xeno Saga series, which includes Xenogears, because I believe there are still 2 parts of the story yet to be told. I would like to see that on the PS3.
You know what, Kyle? You just helped me add like 2 more to my list.
Really?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Sweet. But you know what I'm talking about, right? How,
Yeah.
right when Xenogears was launched, there was that book which detailed the 6 phases of that story.
No, I didn't really play the game.
Oh. We'll look on Wikipedia. It'll tell you what I'm talking about. I don't feel like talking
Not
to
if
you
EA's
about it.
editing it.
Yeah.
He's got a point. Is the Xenosaga like an epic type saga that you just can't move on with your life until they've completed it?
Well, I'd like to see them finish it. Just because... No, you guys never played Xenogears, have you? I know you haven't, Keith.
No. I heard it was really good, though.
And I
on my list.
just heard that Josh didn't. It's a good RPG. The story is very, very engaging. Gameplay could be worked on a bit.
Is it RPG? Is it adventure? Or
It's an RPG. There's 2 ways of fighting, either on foot or in giant robots.
Haha, you can use your Steel Battalion controller.
That would be some nice integration, except for the fact that you can't plug the Steel Battalion controller into a 360
Alright, I've got another question for you.
Yet.
Someone will hack that. My question is this. Do you find that the types of games you're selecting that need to be brought into the next gen or current gen, whatever we're calling it, you're selecting them because there's a lack of games of this type on these consoles right now, or are they just games that you just feel so strongly about from your fond memories of playing them in the past that you want to see them brought into the present?
It's both A and B. I want to see Xenogears finished off, but I liked the story. I would like other people to, play the game. It was a very enjoyable game. For Commander Keen, I want to just see what they could do with him now. And I want more people to play it. Because the only people who've played Commander Keen are over 20.
But you want them to play a new, updated version, but so similar to the old version that they'll definitely get the same feel from the game.
At least with the first one, then they can experiment with it. I just want to see what they could do.
That makes sense. Do you have an opinion on that, Josh?
No.
Alright, go on with your list, Josh. God damn it.
Okay.
Monkey wrench thrower.
My next one would be Star Tropics. Yep, Star Tropics.
Never played it.
Yeah, I hate you anyways.
Do explain.
Star Tropics was a game where it was just really fun. And that's all I have to say. And they need to make another one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that does sound fun.
What was it about?
Yeah. It was about stars and tropics. Yeah. Okay. Your professor or grandfather, I can't really remember it at this point, was kidnapped or disappointed and or disappeared, and you had to go find him, going through all the little levels and all that. I believe it was made by the team who did Zelda. I believe so. You had a little ship who can get you around the water, a little submarine guy. It was just good fun, and they need to make another one to make me happy.
Okay, I've got one, and you guys are probably both going to laugh at me. It just popped into my head. I don't know why. But Leisure Suit Larry.
Are you fucking kidding me?
This is just one of those games that I vaguely remember from being a young person with a computer, and I downloaded it. I don't remember where I got it. I'm sure
I
it wasn't
didn't think they
legal.
even had computers when you were young.
I said young. Well, all right.
They had a bunch
youngish.
of Chinese people in the basement who just memorized numbers.
Yeah, something like that. But basically, Leisure Suit Larry was just the silliest, dumbest, goofiest little game. You play this sleazebag named Larry, of course, and he's always trying to hook up with the chicks in whatever situation is. Maybe he's in a hotel, maybe he's in a casino. I think that was the one I played. But I don't know, it just strikes me as such a quirky, funny little game that I could easily see that going over pretty well on one of the next gen consoles.
I believe my favorite Leisure Suit Larry was number 6, I think it was, the one where he went to the spa.
I don't think I saw that one.
And I don't think it would lend itself to the next gen consoles unless
Why not?
Unless it's the Wii, because it was a
Yeah, I could see it on the Wii easily.
Yeah.
So I retract what you said about current gen.
Yeah, see, so now that you fail, you have to go back on your word and say the Wii is now next
Hypocrite.
gen. Until the next episode.
Only if they get Leisure Suit Larry.
You hypocrite. So,
only if it gets Leisure Suit Larry, which it probably
Hypocrite.
never will.
Hypocrite.
Nintendo won't allow
I'm
Leisure
not a-
Suit Larry on their console anyway.
Of course not. They should.
I
though.
never played a Leisure Suit Larry game.
I mean, the Japanese would freaking eat that up.
God, there's probably all sorts of freaking porn games in Japan.
Yeah,
for
all
the
it is
Wii.
is a dating game. I mean, that's all Leisure Suit Larry ever was like a goofy, kind of fun dating game. Because you tried to give the right gifts to the right person to try to hook up with them. I mean, that's all it was. It was just silliness.
Because of Larry, I didn't get laid until I was 22.
Because he didn't have to.
Yeah.
He had pixelated boobies to look at.
That's sad. Josh,
But it amuses
you're
me.
just depressing now.
Well, yeah. But your mom did do me a favor by getting me in there.
Plus, I don't see many people having sex with a Yeti.
Well, you don't go into the woods very often.
Anyway, the next on my list is a new Silent Hill game. A real Silent Hill game.
It's already
4
in
does not
development.
count.
Is it? No, well, there is a new one in development for the Xbox 360 and the PSP,
Yay!
and there's one for the PSP.
But we never did say this was a wish list, so it's okay to want something that you now know is going to be made.
I could just imagine what horrors they can that can be wrought now with the updated graphics. The sounds alone will be nightmarish.
In 5.1.
Shouldn't you worry about buying a new console rather than the game?
Shouldn't you not be ripping down his list just because he doesn't own a console?
Can I continue with my list?
I'll eventually own a
No,
console.
we're talking about Silent Hill. I totally agree with him that Silent Hill with 5.1 surround speaker setup, oh my god, that'd be awesome. Scary as hell.
So my next one would be Jet Set Radio,
Why, Josh?
because I really enjoyed Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future for the Xbox.
I didn't get the appeal of that game.
Jet Set Radio Future was the only game that I enjoyed on the original Xbox.
I was going to say Halo and Halo 2, but you hated Halo.
I hate Halo.
But you're going to get 3.
Go back. Rewind. What is Jet Set Radio?
Well, Jet Set Radio Future was a game where you were a bunch of kids on rollerblades and you basically skated around doing
Spray painted shit?
and spray painted shit, yeah, and doing different missions and I suppose and stuff like that. It was fun. It was good, and it was I think it was one of the first cel-shaded games that I actually played.
What could you envision that being brought forward as? Another cel-shaded game, or would parts of it be cel-shaded? Would the entire thing be 3D? How do you see it?
I would love it to be cel-shaded because I think for that type of game it just worked out really well.
It's a stylistic thing. It's just it's the same with
Katamari.
Yeah, Katamari.
I guess one thing I'm thinking about is that does cel shading really translate well onto the next gen? Have we seen any next gen games that are cel shaded?
Crackdown.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't really like Crackdown because of the visual style.
Well, you know what? I don't really care.
I'm just saying, not everyone really cares for the visual of a cel shaded.
But this is my
3D
list.
game.
This is not everybody's list.
Okay, I will no longer have an opinion on anything that's on Josh's list. Kyle, what do you think about cel shading?
It is all about it's the game itself. Like Katamari, it's a quirky little game and it needs a quirky artistic style. So cel shading. How was Katamari done? Was that cel shading, or was that just weird models?
Kind of jaggy pixelation. The people all look like rectangles with circles, and it's very crudely drawn, I would say. I think that's why it doesn't really translate well to the 360 version with beautiful Katamari. It just kind of looks clunky. It's not visually appealing to me anyway.
Yeah, it's all about the style and the feeling of the game. Beautiful Joe. That was that's a good example. The first one was good. It was just an interesting game. I'd like to see Comic Zone brought back as a cel-shaded game for the Genesis.
I hope you know that was one on your list now. Now I get to go again.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, go ahead.
Go twice.
As I say.
My next one will be Twisted Metal. Yep.
No.
Nope.
Yes.
Wait. Yes.
We already talked about Twisted Metal. We said,
I know.
we want it.
I'm oscillating back and forth on that one.
I want it to be online. I want everything to be destructible.
Copycat. Just freaking stole from me.
No, I
You
did
did.
not. No, I did
Go
not.
on.
Because I actually made a list. I took the time and effort to make a list. You did not.
Doesn't take me time or effort to make a list in my head.
I took a time and effort to make a list. I checked it twice.
Kyle, we're not talking about you. The world does not revolve around Kyle Dumond. ahead.
It does. I haven't passed that developmental stage yet. I am
Well,
the
you're
world.
a black hole then. Then you're a black hole. Josh, go ahead.
Alright, well, Twisted Metal, a lot of fun. I especially love Twisted Metal 2 and Black.
You like 2?
Yes, I did.
I didn't really care for 2. But go ahead.
What was this about not having opinions about my list?
I lied.
Alright. I'm done.
Question mark.
Proceed, Kyle.
Oh, wait, I want to talk about Twisted Metal again.
We already
Alright,
talked
well, you
about
talk
it.
amongst yourselves.
What vehicles do you want to see? I mean, do you want to see all new vehicles? Do you want to see them be completely destructible? Or do you want them to be more like, MotorStorm? Like you get blown up and you just respawn somewhere.
Didn't you do that already in Twisted Metal? You get blown up and you just respawn somewhere?
That's what happens.
But you don't have to do it. Once you go to online play, you don't have to let people respawn. They might have to
Right.
the match.
Online, then yeah, I think having like lives would be a good idea. You start with like 2 lives or whatever, something like that. As for what characters to bring back, yeah, I think they should bring. I'd say at least the originals.
Sweet
Not
Tooth.
like
Sweet Tooth.
Yeah, Sweet Tooth.
God, that thing
Mr.
was
Grimm.
annoying.
I would say bring back the originals. Make some new ones. I mean, you have this whole new graphical beast that you can work with.
Would you like to see wide open environments?
Yes.
Kind of like areas around Burning Man or... Oh my
Okay.
god. Now that you've totally tipped me in favor of bringing that back to a next-gen console.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Alright, go ahead, Kyle. I'm done.
Proceed.
No, Josh goes twice. So I went
I'm done
twice.
skiving on his topic thing.
Well, Josh gets another turn.
I don't want Josh to go twice.
Well, I took two turns. It's only fair.
Alright, Josh, go ahead.
All right. My next one then will be Chrono Trigger.
Ooh. That was actually going to be on my list.
Chrono Trigger was one of Square's many popular games on the Super Nintendo. And then they came out with Chrono Cross. And then essentially abandoned the series. When people have been begging them to either remake Chrono Trigger or continue Chrono Trigger. And they never have.
I played it when it was on, Anthologies? Was it Final Fantasy Anthologies?
No. Anthologies was Final Fantasy 6 and 5.
And then it was the other one, whichever that was called, where you got Final Fantasy 4 and Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. I don't remember which one, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I played it and I got the sweet anime AMVs in it.
Chrono Trigger is one that Square needs to continue. I love that they still have Final Fantasy going and they're remaking them, just not the ones that I want. Even though I got 6, I still want 7.
Then they're remaking Final Fantasy 1 way too many times.
Yeah. Bring back Chrono Trigger. Either remake it, I don't care. That's not the list, but remake it. Or make another one. Go, Kyle.
That's it for my list.
I knew you was going to say that.
That was my 8.
Well, I don't have any either.
The only other one that I can think of would be Earthworm Jim.
I can see that as a cel-shaded game.
Yeah.
I can see that as a live arcade download.
I can see it as both.
Yeah, I guess so. There's one game that I'm still kind of oscillating back and forth on, and that's Tomb Raider.
It's already on the 360.
No, I mean like a next-gen Tomb Raider.
You know what? I just thought of another one.
What?
Descent. I want another
Yes,
Descent.
yes.
Descent was so awesome.
I want another Descent. The company that made it, I mentioned it on probably like 4 episodes ago. The company that made Descent split into 2 different companies. And then they got bought by 2 other companies. And now neither of them are around anymore. So again, I don't know who has the license. But a Descent with a 6-axis would be amazing.
I just want to shoot the crap out of the guide bot again.
Yeah.
God damn, that
I
was
want
so
another
annoying.
Descent. Make it happen, Kyle.
I'll do my best.
Kyle, call your people. Call your minions.
Keith, did you play Descent?
I played it a little bit. I think I played a demo of it or something.
I played 1, 2, and the expansion for 2.
It was more of a PC game.
Yeah.
It was a PC game, but I think it would fit on the next-gen consoles perfectly now.
I was so excited.
I shot my wad.
I bought a joystick just for that game.
Yeah. And I want it back.
Wow. We kind of burned through our entire list of both games that we don't want to see on a next-gen console, including the Wii, and games from old consoles that we want to see on a new next-gen console, including the Wii. That's pretty much it, unless you guys want to talk more about video game controllers. I mean, we could talk about that Battalion goddamn monstrosity
Steel
thing.
Battalion.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you know what? I thought of another game I'd like to bring back.
What?
We should just, make the podcast 3 hours long. That way Josh can
Mech-Assault.
sit there and think of games. What Assault?
Mech Assault for the original Xbox.
Yeah, that was a good game.
I want Mech Assault back.
If they do,
How is-
I would like Steel Battalion I wish I could use a Steel Battalion controller for it. Just so I could use it again.
That's all the time we have to discuss video games for you.
No, wait, I just thought of another one.
Damn it!
No, I didn't really think of one.
Boy, I didn't see that coming at all. Well, if you made it this far into the podcast, I want to remind you all that we have a Folding at Home group, and you can find more information about that at www.playgasm.com. Also, remember we have a forum that you can participate with us and talk shit about video games or whatever's on your mind, and that's also at www.playgasm.com/forum. Remember also that if you know the Video Game Music Challenge, you should private message Josh Bicknell on the forum, and that's about all we have. Do you guys want to give a shout out to anybody in particular?
And you can dig us at digg.com.
You can dig us, god damn it. Who cares about Digg? Dig us if you want, I guess.
I'm trying to get us popular.
Dude, that won't happen. But
no, but I can put my efforts into it.
If you don't hate us, you can dig us at digg.com.
Yeah, your
Kyle?
note system's not working now, is it?
No, god damn it. Thwarted again. Shoutouts?
I would like to give a shout out to my friend Eric, who is currently developing Darkfall Online
That's kind of
in Greece.
sweet.
Hopefully they'll go into beta soon. I'd like to give a shout out to your new Xbox 360 as well.
My 360, he's
I
waving
give you
at
2
me.
months before you die.
Hater.
I give him 3.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. Feel the love.
Yeah.
Kyle? Any shoutouts?
I've got no particular shoutouts.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I got a shout out to Nick, who's a bastard,
Oh, he is. That's true.
because he made fun of me last week. Nick, you're an asshole. Alright, I'm done.
And a lazy bastard. Because he didn't make a list. I'd give a shout out to my nephew Nick over in Germany. Obviously a different Nick.
Oh
What
yeah,
up?
and
Too many
Nick.
different Nicks mentioned.
Lots of Nicks in the world, apparently.
I live with 2.
Thank you for listening, Nick.
V Gates and all that. Alright, we're out of here. Later.
Later.